Okay. And I think we're up. I hope all is well with everybody. Uh, this is David Tomsic. We are here in the middle of November, and wow, the election's over. And I think there's a lot of problems to come. But tonight, I didn't want to do anything off the reservation with an actual video on a topic. In fact, what I want to do is answer some questions that were sent to me, some via email. And I know I've put my email up very seldom. Yeah, why don't I just forget it all the time? If you want to email me, I won't pick it up tonight. David_truthmatters@yahoo.com. That's David_truthmatters@yahoo.com. And remember, the chat's up and live. It's ready to go. Don't hesitate to send me a question. Let me know you're here. Somebody, anybody. But I have questions. And there weren't many, because not everybody knows I have, an email that I've shared a few times on videos. So I'm going to answer these questions. And I kind of didn't pick them all. There were some that might have been way too over the top for maybe this live stream. A couple of them were handed to me, were asked me in person. One was a friend, one was a person I met at Panera. You can't get rid of those people. Okay, so we're going to get going with this question and answer session. Now, question one, by the way, please like, subscribe, and share this video. Housekeeping. Jimmy H., he's from West Virginia. He asks me, why do you think Trump was so popular with so many Americans in this election, especially since he has so many character flaws? Okay. He also went on, he told Americans what they wanted to hear. And he's right. Listen to me carefully. I know so many people really think that it was just this no-brainer. He had all these answers. He's the man. He's in control. He has articulate what he wanted to do. He was going to do it no matter what. And all these things, and it was the economy, stupid. Okay? Well, let me be honest. It's an illusion. See, Kamala Harris tried the same thing, but just didn't have the firepower to do it. Her gimmick, her stick, her illusion was that everything's going to be fine. It's going to be a new America. We're all going to join together. We're going to help women and this and that. And she's talking about helping women while tens of thousands of women have been blown to pieces in Gaza and now in Palestine. And she stands silent. So there's a contradiction there. See, Donald Trump is the ultimate game show host, and he actually was. He knew with his handlers and with those he brought on board, and the billionaires that helped him get the expertise he needed to find what America needed, the pulse of America. Illegal immigration. Hammered it. Now, I'm sure you believe that about 98% of everybody who came in are murderers, criminals, diseased, sick, cartel members, terrorists. I'm sure that's what many believe. That's what I've been told. And of course, it's not true, but it doesn't matter. He built a case around it. I'm sure you all know that, homeless people are destroying our cities and are all drug addicts and crooks and thieves and all that stuff. And we got to clear the city streets off. He has a plan. A lot of cities like that. But the people who actually deal with this on both sides of the spectrum, in those cities like Seattle, will tell you that his cure will be worse, than the disease. And we've been through this before. He's going to call for peace. He's going to be the man of peace, because under his administration, the last 2016 through 2020, under his administration, he never went to war. Well, no, but he didn't stop any wars. He continued to fund them. He promised to pull out of Afghanistan. He didn't. He escalated in many places. He murdered Soleimani, a general, Iraqi, or should I say Iranian general, well known, a hero to the Iranians, an illegal act, an unconstitutional act, and was not really a wise thing to do. He did it. So he admitted he started funding and sending weapons to Ukraine under his administration, which we know is true because in 2014, the CIA overthrew the Ukrainian government. And from that time forward, the escalation began, and he approved massive weapons to be sent to Ukraine to fight Russia. So we know that this isn't true. The Europeans, everybody was making fun of all the European leaders, which are weak leaders. They didn't know what they were going to do. He's going to pull out of NATO. He's going to stop all this neocon ventures around the world that they all, join in on. And they were afraid. But guess what? They looked recently at the cabinet he put together, and it's all neoconservatives. All of them. Warhawks. Warmongers. Many of them anti-China. Many of them pro-Zionist, which means what? Maybe we'll get out of Ukraine with our support. Maybe. We're not sure yet. But we're definitely going to be heading the other direction because from what I understand, from his own people that worked for him, generals that worked for him, Defense Department people who worked for him, they said, excuse me, he was easy to sway. As long as he knew there was something in it for him, a hero, a strong move, showing him as a powerful leader, he was going to do it. So yes, people wanted him. And there's multitude of other reasons. Doesn't consider the Christian side of it. He's Cyrus. He's the reincarnation of somebody or other. Saul is who he really is. But, or should I say the King Saul. He's King Saul, really, who the Jewish people, the Hebrews wanted him. And they got him, and it wasn't a good idea. I think this is what happened to us because they were so fooled. People are so fooled that he's for them on all these issues. Abortion. Abortion was a big one, although it wasn't huge in the actual polling. Economy, like I mentioned. Of course, he's going to find a way. His economy was the best, although it was one of the worst in his 4 years previous. You see, we're looking at the Hegelian dialectic here, okay? And I explained that on my last few videos. Please go watch those videos. Problem, reaction, solution. We'll say it a million times because it deserves to be said. Find the problem. Make it a bigger problem. Lie about it. Manipulate it. Propagandize it. And then you'll see the reaction of the people when you say they're killing all the cats and dogs in Missouri or wherever that was, and they're eating them all. And the people who are the most susceptible to his magic, his illusion, sucked it in. Did some of it happen? Probably. Was it under that scale or at that scale? No. It's how it works. So you can't tell me you made a decision based on anything because it's an illusion. The whole thing is an illusion. There's no white hats and black hats. There's just black hats. The hats on the right and the hats on the left, they all take turns. And now it's the opposite black hats that are going to push the country farther and farther right, farther and farther towards authoritarianism. And it starts now. Thank you, Jimmy, for that question. Question 2 is from Catgirl. Okay, you said you disagree with Biden's support of Ukraine, but why shouldn't the United States help an ally against aggression? Well, first of all, Ukraine is not our ally. We have no agreements with Ukraine. They're not part of NATO. We have no agreements with them. And in fact, as I mentioned in my previous rant, We began the war by overthrowing the elected government of Ukraine in 2014. So we instigated, and Donald Trump admitted he helped and began supplying massive amount of weapons to Ukraine, and he knew they were going to be used to fight the Russians at one point or another. And of course, we know under his administration, they attempted war with Russia on multiple occasions, and they did the same thing under the Obama administration, where Hillary Clinton pushed for war so hard she was bleeding in her nose, throughout her nose. So this is the way it is, like it or not. But the other point is, this is what we do. We've attacked and we've infiltrated. We've went to war with people with no mandate, with no declaration. We've bombed and droned people more than once for decades. So guess what? This is a regional war. It's none of our business. Stay out of it. We should stay out of all regional wars, all wars. Just don't supply the bombs and methods to kill people. You see, it comes down to not the argument about what should have, could have, who did this, and he's evil, and Putin this. It doesn't matter. That's not our business. It's a half a world away. We spent billions. We've weakened ourselves by sending our weapons there, which we now have very little of to spare. For what? And you might say, well, Donald said he's going to have a peace agreement there. The only peace agreement will come when the United States agrees with Russia that the territories they took are now Russian. As I've said in other videos, I don't know if he will never do that, but they will not allow him to do that. The permanent state, the deep state, the military-industrial complex, the neocons, his own cabinet that he has now will not let him do that. That's the only way there will be peace, because Ukraine's losing the war. Okay, question 3. This is from Rob M. Wow. What's your take on climate change? You've talked about it in a couple of videos, but never did a full video on it. This is a toughie because I think a lot of people are misinformed about the terminologies and what we're talking about when we're dealing with climate change. Now, maybe I'm wrong on that, but I do believe there is climate change. We've had a drought here for months. We had heavy rain today, and we're going to have some tomorrow. But for the most part, our creeks are dry, our basins are dry. People that had basically streams or dry country was in most of the country was in drought. Matter of fact, one of the local farms in the area, Duda's farm, I've never been there. It's a farm that they have the quintessential hay rides and holiday events there. They had to cut back and lay off because of the drought. And they're never going to go back. I mean, they just don't have and prices have gone up. So the two collided and they now are a part-time farm. So there are really ways to look at this. There's no doubt that polar ice caps are melting. There's no doubt that temperatures are rising, and there's the disagreement is between, is it natural or is it man-made? It could be natural, and I think people try to prove that. But a lot of that science is based on people that work for oil companies, fracking companies, an industry that really relies on fossil fuels. Now, we can never get rid of fossil fuels, at least not today. So the big push is we want to keep digging and powering and drilling and pulling up fossil fuels. But there's no doubt they do enhance the issue with climate change. I mean, you can't walk down the street and with cars, traffic, and be able to breathe naturally for long. And you just look at the number of cars on the road today, for instance, you can't tell me that isn't an effect. And I know people will disagree with that. See, I'm from an older school. We pollute everything, water, soil. Water is some of the most polluted water in this country and in the world. And that includes a lot of countries. We've polluted it. Dumpers and runoff from just about everything. You think a parking lot with 100, 500, 700 cars and oil, excuse me, allergies, and gas leaking from cars, water comes, rain, eventually wears, erodes it, and eventually gets into the soil. You use the Roundup. How many of you use Roundup? You put that in your grass, your lawn. All of a sudden, it's in your water systems. The sheer number of plastic bottles, that we just discard everywhere. So we're the civilized nation, all of us, and we just discard crap everywhere. Garbage and rusted vehicles and metal, just piles. I walk along the Montour Trail here. You can look on these farms and you see just rusted junk and stuff in piles. Not one or two farms, but tons of them. What are you doing with this stuff? I mean, then you look at the very fact that everybody wants to fight conservation now. We just keep our lights on, run our water, we'll walk away from water for an hour. Conservation was the first thing we tried to do for basically when we had a crisis for oil, when we had the first inkling that there was climate change. Everybody wanted to conserve. But now it's just straight up use. And again, that's a reflection on our society, a greedy, selfish society. Want. Everything's unlimited. Our president is going to guarantee that now. The companies say that, we're going to make sure everybody has a piece of the pie, mostly just rich people, and just keep using. Well, there is a time limit on everything. And there is a time limit on oil, and we know what that is. And I'm not even going to get into this conversation. It's sooner than you think, though. It's just drill. Drill, baby, drill. Question 4, Sarah. I think it's time to send illegal immigrants home. Are you for mass deportation? No. Okay, I know. A lot of people, I didn't have my sign, mass deportation. This was tried a few times in history here in the United States. The most recent was under Dwight D. Eisenhower. And they called it Operation Wetback. Now, they claim anywhere from 300,000 to about 1.1 million were rounded up and sent back. This ended up being a disaster, really. But it had to do with bringing people in on visas. These were workers that worked farms and different low-paying jobs. People complained, as they usually do, that they're taking American jobs. There was too many of them. They kept coming. They were undocumented. Well, yeah, whatever it was. Okay, I'll listen to people's complaints. You look back, and it really wasn't a big of a deal as they thought it was. But people were separated. Families were busted up, as they have been today. There were churches that opened on a Sunday, and there was a third of the people in church because half of them were deported. Jobs, people opened their businesses and had these immigrants working there, and they didn't show up to work for their business. Tax dollars went down. Communities suffered because, again, most of these people work, and that's the misnomer people have. This isn't what these politicians want to tell you. These people are mostly hardworking people. Okay? So if you know of people who aren't, and you know of people who are criminals, yeah, we have to find them. But he wants to deport 40 million, 20 to 40 million. I think that was what it was. I say good luck with that, because I don't think he has a chance in hell that's going to happen. I just saw on a video today that there are, in multiple videos, there are people lining up in every state, Trump-proofing their economies and Trump-proofing their social services. Okay, so already there are people, attorneys with briefs already written to challenge just about everything that he's going to do. I predicted this. Keep in mind, we're looking at a lame duck president right off the bat. And at max, he has 2 years because he has a Republican Congress, maybe. We're not sure what's going to happen with the House. there's some changes that could happen because he's pulled some House members away to put in his cabinet. But either way, it'll be tight there. And of course, in 2 years, you have another congressional election. So he may not have the amount of time. So the first month or two, he'll have a flurry of executive orders. And these things really bother me, whether it was Obama doing it, Bush doing it, Biden doing it, or now Trump. Again, this skirts our system. But people like that because they get what they want quicker. We want it now. We're tired of what we're seeing. We want it now. Okay, well, you're going to get it. Believe me, you're going to get it. But on the other side of that coin is that there will be challenges to just about everything. So we're going to see how this works out. This is the first time that a president's ever been unelected and then reelected, okay? And no matter how many people support him, and now there's rumors, more confirmed than anything, that there's a lot of people that are second-guessing their vote. There's a lot of people that have actually looked up, how can I change my vote? I mean, it's not a lot, but it's a good number. And buyer's remorse. This guy has that like I said, the illusion broke on some people. Some people saw through it. But so there's some issues that will happen. We'll see what goes forward. But Sarah, nothing can come good from this. We have to find a better way to obviously slow the people down, and there has been methods to do that. We have to find a way to get these people to be part of our society if they're going to stay. If they're paying taxes, if they're working, I have no problem with it. Like I said, I see these people every day. They come into the coffee shop or Sheetz convenience store, and there's dozens of them, and they all get up. They're up. I'm usually there at 6 a.m., 7 a.m. They're up and going to work. See, so I don't have an enemies list. I mean, would I like there to be less? And I'm sure some people in some areas have more of them there. Maybe there's something they can do about that. I mean, we are reasonable people. We have some knowledge. Maybe we can adjust how we've distributed these people. I don't know. See, they're here. It's not like you can just, you're going to send, and let me be honest with you, what Eisenhower did is sent the military. And someone told me, and I can't confirm this, there were tanks, there was just people being dragged off the street. No one even knew where they were. Their families didn't even know where they were. That's bullshit. By the way, hi, Renee and Tom. Thanks for joining me. I'm glad to see friends of mine. Very good couple. God bless you guys. Love you. So, we got to be careful because we're judged for all this stuff, how we treat the stranger. We becoming very close society again, or we're trying to, at least a good group of people are. Okay, I mean, we can argue all day, but it comes down to individual people. Like I said about Kamala Harris, she's there, has this campaign of helping women and protecting rights, and and meanwhile she's sending her boss is sending 4,000 pound bombs to blow up buildings with women and children in it. You see, there's that double standard. There's a cause and effect. You might get your way, people. You might get rid of 100 million immigrants. What will be sucked into that vacuum? You may not want to know. Because as I mentioned in another previous video, our birth rate's way, way, way down. And a friend of mine said, well, we still have too many people. No, it's not you have too many people. You have too many people in one area. And, that's part of that big plan. Just lock everybody into big areas. Just bring them all in. Tear every tree down, build every building and mall you can, and pack them, stack them, and whack them. And we're going to be getting whacked. Anyway, see, this is another subject I can go off the reservation on. Okay, question 5. This is from Nighthawk, my man, or maybe not. Maybe it's a lady. But Nighthawk, both Trump and Harris proposed tax cuts for the American people. But you said you didn't think that was a good idea. Why? Don't we all need a tax break? This is another one of those manipulated stories when politicians build their illusions around their platforms. Now, there's always an alternative because, for the most part, for both parties, the rich of the rich get richer. It's the way it is. And if they tell you anything else, they throw you a bone. Feel good about the bone, but be honest to know that it was just a bone to shut you up, to keep you on the righteous side, to keep those dark hats from beating the other dark hats, okay? The black hats, because there's no white hats anywhere. Anybody doesn't know what a white hat and black hat is, by the way? Thank you, Renee. I'll answer this for Tom and Renee because I think they know the answer. White hats are the good guys, black hats are the bad guys. But I think the devil works differently than we think here. Even a lot of Christians, I think, mistake this. A lot of evangelicals mistake this. I believed this for a while, too, that there are these white hats, and they're fighting the bad guys. And it's a balancing thing. We got to get our guy in, and he's going to go after these other black hats. But really what it is the devil's underneath the table with a white hat on one hand and a black hat on the other hand. But it's the same entity playing both against the middle. And of course, a lot of this legal problem that many states and many people are worried about, Trump made some innuendos that he was going to arrest. I think one of them was Nancy Pelosi, have her taken away at night or something. There was questions about that. And of course, this kind of stirred up a lot of people. And, the tactics, that he would use are those tactics. Just like creating the cabinet he has created. He had one of the Pompeo and Bolton in his last cabinet, two of the biggest neocons in history. He's got some people that, are off the reservation as it is. And then he put Scott Rubio, or was it Marco Rubio, Secretary of Defense, right? He's so far over his head, he won't be able to see the light. And I've listened to about a dozen experts from both parties that are concerned because, again, he's going to deal with Lavrov. Lavrov is the best foreign minister in the world. Nobody is better than Sergei Lavrov of Russia. Nobody. Everybody agrees. Everybody. And I've listened to this guy and read his comments for years. Brilliant. This Rubio's going to go head to head with this guy? No. In fact, just trying to manage, and Rubio never managed. This isn't me saying this. Others never managed more than a couple of people. The biggest entity of people in the world in that department is a whole mind-boggling thing. So you see where I'm going with this, is that we get excited, people do, about picks, and Gabby is going to be in charge of the NSA, I think, whatever. Gabby Hubbard, was her? Gabby, yeah. She's going to be in charge of the CIA or the NSA, and she's going to straighten things out. Again, we hope and we pray because, you see, this is what we expected. Our leaders are going to fix everything. Somebody, and I'm going to go off the reservation here. Before I do, taxes. I'm going to finish this for you, Nighthawk. It was Donald Trump, the biggest tax cut in history, 2017. It's going to build America back again. People are going to invest in new businesses and expansion projects. You know how much expansion projects there were? I looked this up. I couldn't find anything on it. But his tax cut law combined $839 billion into executive enrichments, which means bonuses for executives, stock buybacks, and dividends for rich people. Okay? You see where I'm going with this. So if you want to give me a tax cut, fine. here's the problem I have. Where's the money going to come from? Well, Trump named himself this, and I brought this out today. That's Donald Trump. He admits he's the king of debt, $800.4 trillion. That was in his first term. That's how he does it. But yet his economy still only produced 2.7% GDP after a massive tax cut and $8.4 trillion printed. Where do you people get this stuff? Who's telling you this stuff? The rich have to pay their taxes, period. Then you can give us the tax money, who really, the middle class pays for everything. Did you know that? Isn't the rich and all this they're doing? No, it's the middle class that pays for everything. And now as we're shrinking, he wants to give us a tax cut to see I took care of you. But there's no offsets in spending. He wants to put billions more into the defense budget. Stop. No. I'm voting no now. You got the biggest defense budget of the next 10 countries. It's not our fault that they steal it, waste it, and build junk. We don't need that big of a defense budget. But see, that sounds good to the schmuck that's up there. Oh, we're going to blow the world up again. We're going to teach everybody. You're going to use a big stick on everybody. China, Russia, Iran, North Korea, India. Name somebody. We're going to go after them all. They're going to obey us. We're putting them back in line. You'll never get that Pandora back in that box. Grow up, Trump. Grow up, Republicans. Grow up, neocons, and all who voted for him. Grow up. If you didn't see my video yesterday, I'm for peace. The peace movement thing, actually, was Judge Napolitano, I think, Gerald Celente. There's a whole list of ambassadors, former high-end military people, CIA analysts that joined this group. I'm joining this group. You see, I realize that war is never the answer. It hasn't been. We keep going back to the same tactics. It's like the definition of crazy. Keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. See, that's not how anything works anymore. The world has moved on. And I know I'm probably, someone might say, this is old news. But you see, it's not old news because most people don't get it. Those people that somehow thought, and let me go down this road. I saw a video of a gentleman who said, did the right-wing Christians, evangelicals, elect Barabbas? Remember who he was? He was the thief. They called him a thief, but what he was a revolutionary. He was, and Jesus, in front of Pilate, Pilate said, this guy has no sin on him. I mean, he'd done nothing wrong, washed his hands of it. But there was a tradition to let someone go. And he allowed the Jews to pick who they wanted to go. There was the two men, the ones that were actually ended up nailed to the crosses on either side of Jesus, and there was Barabbas. And they chose Barabbas. Now, I'm not comparing, Donald Trump to Barabbas in the sense of it. This is who he is. But the point is that, see, what Barabbas can do, and I'm giving credit to the gentleman, and I forget his name, that really highlighted this for me. You see, here's the thing. See, what Barabbas represented, he was a revolutionary. He was fighting the Romans right then. He was going to give the Jewish people what they really wanted right now. Legislate whatever they wanted legislated. Get rid of Rome. Bring back our king. And we'll be an independent people. We'll have what we want again. Milk and honey. Okay? And in many ways, Donald Trump represented that same stereotype, that same archetype. I'm going to give you what you want right now. And he's admitted after 4 years, you don't need to vote anymore. I'm going to fix it all. 4 years. We don't need to vote anymore. Maybe that was just his own, off the cuff speaking, futuristic style, saying, everything's done. I'm going to, fix it all. Or he's making the promise to people. Again, another illusion, the psychological usage of words, propaganda, so to speak, a narrative, telling people that, listen, I'm going to get you everything you want. Christians, 81% of the evangelicals voted for him. I'm going to get you what you want. We're going to outlaw abortion no matter what. In fact, the abortion law he's going to come up with is scary. They want to make it criminal. So if your wife's dying in a birth event, you don't have a choice. Okay? This is what's scary to me, because my daughter was to get pregnant and something was to happen. I want her to have a choice and her husband to have a choice of what to do. Now, I know everybody's thinking of the millions of abortions and all these people up to 20 years old, crazy stuff. No. These people are scary. And you don't get it because you didn't read the 25-point plan. And some of the things are scary. He actually has a plan to solve homelessness. He said it on the road. He said they want to buy land cheap somewhere and put everybody there in their tents. Maybe have doctors show up and, yada, yada, yada. Treatment centers. Because he mentioned that they're all drug addicts and they're all violent and they're all crazy. Now, the people who actually take care of these people now said, as much as everybody would love that, see, because people don't want to see them. See, we don't want to see our mistakes in this country. We don't want to see that there's a big issue with people who can't afford, in the greatest country in the world, to live. Veterans on the streets, homelessness. So we just give them a tag. They're all crazy drug addicts. I'm told by people who work in the streets that only 35% are categorized as drug addicts or crazy. But see, we won't tell you that. Donald Trump didn't want to tell you that. All of them. If you listen to the speech like I did, I was ashamed. And people say, well, why are you so upset about it? Because these are people. And again, the people who are dealing with this said this will be worse. His cure will be worse than the sickness. They all admitted it, both sides. People who even agree with something needing done said this, but this is what we'll do. We'll solve the problem. But are you? To the average American, when they go to Seattle or San Francisco, it'll be gone. They'll be somewhere else, dying and suffering somewhere else. But you don't have to see them. Oh, the great judgment that's becoming on America. A great judgment. It is. And it's not always what you think. That's the scary thing. It's not all what you think. It comes from every aspect, from the right and the left, the things we have done and have allowed to be done in our name. I know too many right-wing people, too many evangelical people, more than happy to see a baby blown up in a tent. Yeah. Governor Cuomo, or Mayor Giuliani. Kill them at 2 because they're taught at 2 years old to hate Americans. Why would they be specifically told to hate Americans when they're in the Middle East and their enemy is not an American? They would never see an American in the Middle East, not very often. But I digress. This is the genocidal thinking that American good right-wing white people talk about, and I'm ashamed. And again, woe. Jesus said, woe unto you. Our hair on that child's head. It'd be better for you to have a rock tied around your ankle and waist and tossed into the sea. Woe unto you. I hope I've answered those questions. Listen, if you got questions, please email them to me at David_truthmatters, that's plural, matters, at yahoo.com. And again, I'm going to try to have a live stream again next week. I might up these to Tuesdays and Thursdays. Don't hold me to it. Live streams I just like. I think they're much more smooth for me to do once I get the technology set here, right? And I hope everybody's well. I hope you're not too offended by anything I say. I'm realizing that I'm probably becoming the most controversial person that I know. But God's laid things on my heart. And I've asked him to. I've asked him to show me, being that I'm doing what I'm doing. I've asked him to show me the truth and what I need to talk about, what I need to see. And what I see is frightening. And it's not the frightening things everybody else sees. Terrorist attacks in America, the lights out scenarios. I mean, these can happen. But that's not what worries me. What worries me is our own population allowing us to have our freedoms dwindled away as we move farther right, as we move farther towards authoritarian worldview. And Donald Trump admits that that's who he is. And people who voted for him must know that, and that's what they want, because he can solve the problem now, today. Executive order. Maybe just go out and let people go do things they need to do. Do business. Take care of things. So the Constitution's not important anymore. Don't worry about it. We're going to do what we need to do to fix America, to bring us back to the number one power in the world, to keep us at the top. We'll do anything. And you see, the final point I'll make when it comes to this peace talk from Donald Trump is that he's not going to get the agreements he wants from anybody, which will make him angry. And he's a true believer in American power. He's a true believer in keeping America great. And you think that's going to, not give him the overall willpower to move forward with military force, war, drone strikes, bombing strikes, assassinations? If you don't think that's true, you're watching the wrong things. I'm sorry that I kind of harp on this. This is going to be an interesting time, seeing what happens moving forward. I'm not saying I have all the answers. These are my analysis and my commentary. We'll find out as we move forward. And we're already going in to halfway through November, so sooner than you think we'll be in a Trump administration. Well, it's all the time I have today. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, share. Please go back and watch the other videos. Again, look forward to the live stream next Thursday. And maybe you'll get notified there's a live stream Tuesday. I'm not sure. Outside of that, enjoy your weekend. God bless you. And I'll see you next time right here on the Tomsic Analysis. Those were some good questions. I think the answers were okay.